everyone. I'm Jennifer Schwartz with Harris County Public Library. Welcome to this morning's program and welcome to day 2 of our week-long summer Authorama series. We're so excited to be hosting today's program with our friends at Arte Público and so happy to be hosting today's authors, Ricia and Chansky and Yarelis, Marcial, Acevedo. We are going to be giving away not one, but 2 copies of their book, Maxy Survives the Hurricane. So be sure to watch the Facebook chat for those opportunities. Winners will need to be able to pick their books up from a Harris County Public Library branch. Now, through today's program, please place all of your questions and comments in the chat, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, and we will collect them and answer at the end. For more exciting Kids Authorama programs, be sure to tune in this Thursday at 5 as award-winning and best-selling author and illustrator Peter Reynolds reads and draws for you. And to see all of our Authorama programs and all of our programs, please visit hcpl.net/virtual programs. And now to introduce our authors, I am very happy to present Marina Tristan with Arte Público.
Good morning. Thank you to the Harris County Public Library for including Arte Público and its authors in the annual Authorama event. And thank you all for joining in today. Arte Público is based at the University of Houston and publishes books for all ages by Hispanic writers of the United States. You can download our catalogs from our website at artepublicopress.com. If you're looking for bilingual books for kids, check out the Piñata Books for Children and Piñata Books for Young Adults brochures. And now on to today's event. Yarelis, Marcial, Acevedo, and Ricia and Chansky live on the beautiful island of Puerto Rico. Ricia is a professor of English at the University of Puerto Rico at Mayagüez, and Yarelis is a graduate student there. They wrote their book, Maxy Survives the Hurricane, Maxi sobrevive el huracan, after the devastating Hurricane María hit the island and left people without power for months. They heard many stories about Puerto Rican children who were terrified of the rain and the dark after the storm. They hope that this book, featuring a sweet little dog, will help children around the world who have experienced scary natural disasters. Ahora van a leer el libro en ambos idiomas. Y después ustedes podrán hacer las preguntas en inglés o español. Ricia, Yarelis, take it away.
Thank you so much, Marina, and thank you very much to our host today. We're happy to be here to share with you Maxy Survives the Hurricane, Maxi Sobrevive el Huracán. Maxy is a puppy who lives in Puerto Rico with Clarita, her mom and dad and grandparents too. Their small house is filled with laughter, music, and dancing. Life for little Maxy is so much fun.
Maxi es un sato que vive en Puerto Rico con Clarita, su mamá y papá, y abuelos también. Su pequeña casa está llena de risa, música y baile. La vida para el pequeño Maxi es muy divertida.
On sunny days, Clarita and Maxy go to the park to play catch or go on adventures under the flamboyant, the most colorful tree of Puerto Rico. On rainy days, they stay inside and play games or read books together. Sometimes Maxy takes long naps with his favorite toy, Mr. Bat.
En los días soleados, Clarita y Maxi van al parque a jugar a la pelota o de aventuras debajo del flamboyant, el árbol más colorido de Puerto Rico. En días lluviosos, ellos se quedan dentro de la casa y juegan o leen libros juntos. A veces, Maxi toma largas siestas con su juguete favorito, el señor murciélago.
One day in September, Maxy saw everyone rushing around. Clarita's papa nailed wooden panels over the windows. Clarita's mama went to the store and bought soup in cans, candles, and batteries.
Un día de septiembre, Maxi notó que la gente corría de derecha a izquierda. El papá de Clarita Martilló paneles de madera sobre las ventanas. La mamá de Clarita fue a la tienda y compró sopa en latas, velas y baterías.
Clarita's grandparents put clothes and plates and even Mr. Bat in boxes and moved them to high shelves. Clarita helped by filling buckets with water.
Los abuelos de Clarita pusieron la ropa y los platos y hasta al señor murciélago en cajas y las movieron a estantes altos. Clarita ayudó llenando cubos con agua.
In the early morning, when everyone was still asleep, Hurricane Maria came ashore. Thunder rumbled, the wind blew hard, lightning struck, and it rained hard for hours and hours.
En la madrugada, cuando todos dormían, el huracán María tocó tierra. Los cielos tronaron. El viento sopló fuerte. Los relámpagos alumbraron y llovió por horas y horas.
Later, the power went out and everything was pitch black. It was so scary. Maxi shook with fear. Clarita hugged him tight and petted him. Everything is going to be all right, Maxi. Don't you worry, she said. I hope Mr. Bat's okay, he thought.
Después, la luz se fue y todo se oscureció. Era tan aterrador. Maxi se estremeció de miedo. Clarita lo abrazó fuerte y lo acarició. Todo va a estar bien, Maxi. No te preocupes, ella le dijo. Espero que el señor murciélago esté bien, pensó él.
It felt like forever before it calmed down and the wind and rain stopped. Hurricane Maria was finally over. Maxi and his family came out of their house and saw that many trees had fallen. Roads were flooded and many homes had been destroyed. Nothing was like it was before. And their lovely flamboyant tree had crashed to the ground.
Se sentía como una eternidad antes de que llegara la calma y el viento y la lluvia cesaran. El huracán María finalmente había terminado. Maxi y su familia salieron de su casa y vieron muchos árboles caídos, caminos inundados y muchas casas destruidas. Nada era como antes y el bello flamboyant se había caído.
Maxi and Clarita spent many days without electricity. They stood with her parents in long lines to get gas for the generator and food from the supermarket. They even had to search to find safe drinking water.
Maxi y Clarita pasaron muchos días sin electricidad. Esperaron con sus padres en largas filas para comprar gasolina para los generadores y conseguir comida. Hasta tuvieron que buscar dónde encontrar agua potable.
The day the lights went back on was Maxi's favorite day. The refrigerator started to make its happy hum and the fan started blowing cool breezes. Maxi thought that everything might just be okay for him and Clarita and Mr. Bat.
El día en que de nuevo se prendieron las luces Fue el mejor día para Maxi. El refrigerador comenzó a hacer su alegre zumbido y los ventiladores comenzaron a soplar brisa fresca. Maxi pensó que todo estaría bien para él, Clarita y el señor murciélago.
One day, though, Maxy saw the clouds were starting to gather. When the first raindrops came down, he ran and hid under the bed. When he heard the strong wind and thunder, he trembled and whined.
Un día, sin embargo, Maxi vio que las nubes empezaban a juntarse. Cuando cayeron las primeras gotas de lluvia, corrió y se escondió debajo de la cama. Cuando escuchó el viento fuerte y truenos, tembló y lloró.
When the rain stopped, Clarita explained to Maxy, "Rain is good. We need it to survive. Rain gives us the water we drink and helps plants produce the food we eat."
Cuando dejó de llover, Clarita le explicó que la lluvia es buena, la necesitamos para sobrevivir. Ella nos da el agua que bebemos y ayuda a las plantas a producir la comida.
Later, Grandma said, "There's no need to fear rain. Not every storm is a hurricane. So when it rains, Maxy, we need to think of all the reasons why we need water to live."
Más tarde, abuela dijo, no hay necesidad de temerla la lluvia, no siempre es un huracán. Entonces, cuando llueve, debemos pensar en todas las razones por las que necesitamos agua para vivir.
The next day, Maxy and Clarita planted a new flamboyant tree where their old one had been. Every day they watched the tree, and little by little it grew bigger and stronger. Clarita and Maxy couldn't wait until it grew tall. They would sit under that tree on sunny days and rainy ones too.
Al día siguiente, Maxi y Clarita plantaron un nuevo flamboyant, donde había estado su viejo árbol. Todos los días lo observaban, y poco a poco crecía más grande y más fuerte. Clarita y Maxi no podían esperar hasta que creciera. Se sentaron debajo de su sombra, en días soleados y lluviosos también.
Clarita and Maxy and Mr. Bat went out to the beach. They looked for rain clouds. Maxy said, "Clarita, you don't have to be scared. Not every rain is a hurricane."
Clarita, Maxi y el señor murciélago fueron a la playa. Buscaron nubes de lluvia. Maxi, dijo Clarita, no tienes que tener miedo. No todas las lluvias son huracán.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to us read our book. We're happy to take some questions if anybody has them. You're muted.
Thank you. Pues muchas gracias. Unas cositas. Yarelis, qué gusto escuchar este cuento en tu acento boricua perfecto. Me dio mucha alegría. So I have one question here for you. Can you tell us a bit more about how the book came to be? You know, ¿nos puede contar cómo nació este libro? And whoever wants to answer the question, and maybe one in English, one in Spanish.
Okay, so I'll take part one, and then Yarelis, you take part two of the answer.
Okay.
Excellent. So I'm a teacher at a university on the west coast of Puerto Rico. And after Hurricane Maria, our classes started again about 5 or 6 weeks after the hurricane. And so I started changing courses so that they would be related to the things that all of us, students and teachers, were going through at that time. And so I designed a course that students would think about issues that they were worried about, and we would come up with a plan on how to address those concerns. And Yarelis was enrolled in one of those courses, and the topic that she picked that she wanted to talk about was, how do we talk to children about this really big, really traumatic event that they just passed through, because many adults were very busy doing things that they had to do to keep their families and their lives going after the hurricane. Yarelis, you want to take it from there?
Should I continue in English?
Whichever you prefer. I think either is fine.
All right. So after that, we started going through books of children's literature that was based on natural disasters, and we started to look for things related to hurricane, right? And we wanted to see what was there. And I came across some books that were talking about growing new plants after an event and stuff like that. And in addition to that, we wanted something that showed what was going on in Puerto Rico and what the children had experienced. So we thought, hey, let's get our ideas straight. Read these books, see what we like, what we don't like, right? Not what we don't like, but
what wasn't apropos to our situation. Yeah. What wasn't,
yeah. So we decided, we got together with my teammates and Professor Chansky, and we were talking in a conversation about the children, right? And how do we talk to them? What Chansky was saying, and how do we communicate with them through the situation and have somebody that is there they can relate to and be able to speak about their situation. So we came up with the idea of Maxi because Professor Chansky had mentioned that she had a friend whose kids were terrified after the hurricane. And we came up with the idea with Maxi because after the hurricane, my own pet, his name is Maxy, was terrified of the rain also. And we just got the idea and we put it together and we came up with the plot for the story.
Yeah.
That's great. It's interesting because one of the questions was, are any of the characters based on people or pets that you know? And so now we can say there is a real Maxy, and you both, I assume you both knew people who had children who were traumatized by this event.
Yeah. I had 2 friends with small children, and one friend told me that when the sun went down, because we didn't have electricity for months and months after the hurricane, her children would say, "Por favor, mama, por favor, no la noche, no la noche," and they were so afraid of the dark. And then another friend, her 2 daughters, went into a horrible panic the next time we had a rainstorm, thinking that Maria had come back.
Terrible. So awful. Just quickly, can you tell us about your personal experiences in regard to the hurricane? How long were you without power?
I was without for 96 days.
No. That's crazy.
Don't remember exactly how many months it was, but I know it was like more than 2 months without electricity.
Yeah. And
inconceivable.
So all of us, teachers and students, were trying to finish up their work on campus and then get back to home as quickly as they could so that we could start the camp stove or whatever we were cooking on before the sun went down.
I'm seeing a few more comments and questions come in. So let me just tell you, Gerardo Aspiri Iglesias says that was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Selenia Paz says, what beautiful illustrations. So thank you both for those comments. And then there's another question that someone wonders, Yarelis, does your Maxi have his own Mr. Bat?
Yes, in fact, he does have his own Mr. Bat. That's his favorite toy.
How cute.
And one of the things that we liked so much when we made this book was that everybody helps someone else. And so Clarita has been helped by Grandma and Grandpa, and then she's empowered to help Maxi. And then Maxi is worrying about Mr. Bat. So we like the structure of that.
Yeah, that's a great way to pay it forward. And so I'm looking to see if there are any more questions. I guess another question here is, have you thought about writing another book yet? At least I know you're finishing up your master's and you're about to start your PhD program. Is that right?
So I started my master's and I'm still currently completing my thesis for it. And yes, one of the ideas is to create another children's book related to what has happened lately.
Yeah. One of the things that we noticed when we were in that class together and we were studying children's books that exist about disaster and trauma is that the books are written in a more abstract sense from a scientific perspective or a detached perspective. This is what a hurricane is. This is what an earthquake is. And we were having a hard time finding books for children that said, okay, you've passed through an earthquake or a flood or a hurricane, and we want to recognize what you've gone through, but also help you think about what comes next as you're attempting to process that experience. And so Yarelis' thesis project, which I'm very proud of, is about studying children's books about disaster and how do they talk to children from the perspective of being sort of more detached or more in tune with an experience that a child may have had. Yarelis, do you want to add anything to that since I'm talking about your thesis project?
So yes, like I do want to be able to show. I mean, I think that the thing of my thesis is that the books will be made for kids that go through the experience than just like looking at scientific of what is a hurricane and the science behind it. I think that a more personal type of experience that they see what a character goes through is relatable to them and will help them understand what has happened.
One of the things I really love about the book is that it is very specific about a specific event that happened to people in Puerto Rico, pero al mismo tiempo, it's very universal. It's very, kids all over the world deal with natural disasters, whether it's a hurricane or tornado or an earthquake. And so I feel that the book is really of interest to a wide variety of kids all over the globe. And so thank you for writing it, and I can't wait to see what both of you do next. Are there any other, before we close today's show, are there any other thoughts or comments that you want to share with us and the people listening today? I guess I should say that the book is available through your local library, bookseller, online, through lots of other places. And yes, there's a comment here, and I was thinking it myself, because Arte Público Press and Harris County are both based in Houston, where we do have hurricanes, and like we can really relate, although it's not the same, because we, I have family in Puerto Rico, and they were without power for 5 months, and so I was when I think it was Hurricane Rita hit Houston, I was without power for 13 days, and that seemed like the end of the world to me. Yeah. Because we're just not built to not live without AC, and so we can definitely relate to your book. And dealing with flooding and loss of power, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you again for sharing this story about Puerto Rico that so many people can really appreciate.
And thank you to Angela for that comment. I really appreciate that. I have a group of friends in New Orleans who are dedicated fans of the book. And, while this is certainly something that we did for the children of Puerto Rico, to recognize their experience and try to address some of those experiences. We also realize that the climate emergency is affecting and impacting many children all around the world. And we hope that children can have some further understanding and further comfort through this book.
And maybe those children will grow up to be the ones fighting to make change in regards to climate change. So yeah, thank you. It is a great, I think the book is a great starting point to talk about climate change with young children. So thank you for that too. Okay, well, thank you everybody. We really appreciate your being here today. Please do look for this book at Harris County Public Library, at your local bookstore, at Arte Público Press, our website. You can get it online. Thank you again to Harris County Public Library for hosting us today. And we'll look forward to our next event with both Ricia and Yarelis and Harris County Public Library. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Arte Público, for a great program. Thank you for joining us. For everyone watching, this is your reminder to sign up for Harris County Public Library's summer reading program at hcpl.beanstack.org. Today, you earn 5 points for attending today's program and 10 points for reading Maxy Survives the Hurricane. And be sure to join us this evening at 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube for Authorama and Camp NaNoWriMo presents Authors of Harris County Public Library. So join us for a conversation with 3 of Harris County Public Library's very own published authors, Amy Campbell, Molly McGinty, and Selenia Paz, as they discuss what inspired them to write, their process, and more. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.